What's going on, everybody? This is Steve from AltCoin Buzz, and I'm coming at you on the second best day of the week. That is right, it's Friday. In case you were wondering, Saturday is my favorite day of the week because I ain't got to get up as early to go to work. So, all right, how do you feel about it? Are you guys more excited about Fridays, or are you guys more excited about Saturdays? I'd love to hear about that. Saturdays, other than having to get up and mow the lawn from time to time, sometimes I do it on Sundays, push it off, whatevs. But cryptocurrency market's hanging, right? It's up, so, it's slipping back a little bit. I get the sense, since it's pulled back about 10 billion or so over the last hour, I think some of you guys are out there taking profits, man. We've power to you if you are. I'm curious what you guys are doing. There's been some good 20-30% gains on some of these holdings. I know there's certainly some you can call out that made bigger gains than that, but sometimes that's when you got to take profit, especially when right now in the current meta of what we're dealing with in the marketplace, if you put money in a day or two ago and you were cashing in 20-30% gains, in lieu of understanding whether or not we're getting primed up for another big run, that might be good, man. And that's up to you guys to take a call, but we definitely need to be smart when we take profits. That way we're not all standing around becoming the bag holders if and when something happens. So good on you guys. Me, I'm still shuffling things around. Today was payday. Might still be a good time to put stuff in, but, you got to build a new level of trust up with this type of marketplace. But it's still great to see some gains, see everything in the green, and to have seen about $50 billion worth of market capital injection. In other noteworthy news, KuCoin has had some connectivity issues today. I was kind of worried about this because KuCoin and Binance have a lot of visual similarities between the two exchanges. And Binance has had their troubles this week if you've been following along. You know that, of course, if you're subscribed to AltCoin Buzz here on YouTube and hit the bell next to it for notifications. So clever product plug, shameless self-promotion. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell next to it for notifications. We'll jump onto some of our other platforms here in just a moment. But yeah, KuCoin's had some challenges. So I was logging in to see, what my KuCoins were paying out at, because that's an exchange platform where their coins were paying part of the exchange fees back to the token holders who put their coins back into the platform. So not really a proof of stake concept, but still something that paid sort of like a dividend. All right, so follow us on Twitter. We've got at AltCoinBuzzIO and almost 70,000 of you guys jumping on board. I'm convinced by the end of next week we'll probably have 70,000 followers there. Don't quote me on it, but I'm feeling the vibes. So let's take a look here. And here's where Jeff had mentioned, if you bought the dip hardcore, your portfolio is heavy in the green. So try not to pop too many bottles tonight. Pop them, buddy. Whatever you got. What's your drink of choice? Comment down below. I'm not drinking anything other than water at the moment because I just pounded down a box of Girl Scout cookies, and it feels more like Squirrel Gout cookies. Freaking delicious. But if I were to throw some alcohol on top of that, I might get a case of the old Wilford Brimleys and end up with the Beatus in the morning. So not even trying to get in on that. So here's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Now, there's been almost 3,000 of you all jumped in on this poll that we posted earlier today. Which wallet do you think is going to be a game changer for cryptocurrency? So the poll was between Pillar and Ethos. You guys had a lot of other choices weighing in, although Ethos is the clear front runner. Let's take a look at some of the comments that you guys had dropped in on this one. So he says, take a look at Blue's team. Don't disagree with you there. You got Life Wallet. You guys have a lot of great suggestions. We love you guys doing some of the dirty work and digging up some of your favorites. Honestly, sometimes you guys are the ones that put things in front of our noses and cause us to take a look at them. So we've got a lot of guys here that are out there pushing some of it. So, definitely participate. Get in on Twitter. We've got polls on there. We've got some functionality for things we can't necessarily easily do here on YouTube in ways that we can be more interactive with you. So, if I had to throw my hat in the ring and choose between either of the two, as a project, both of them are trying to solve two different problems out there in the cryptosphere. But they're both providing a wallet solution or working towards providing a wallet solution, of which could potentially be a game changer from both projects. So at pillarproject.io, you'll find the information on Pillar. And these guys are trying to decentralize the personal data about yourself. So that way you can still have access to things like healthcare, shopping, banking, all that sort of stuff, without having to actually give away your data and let other third parties like these retailers and healthcare providers actually hold that information on you. They want to put the power back in your hands and make those people come to you for your information. So Pillar's an interesting one. They are PLR, not to be confused with PRL, which would be Oyster Pearl. Two different tickers, two different projects. Oyster Pearl is another cool one that I personally hold, and I have a lot of belief in the fact that Oyster Pearl, as a side note, is potentially going to be a game changer in the online advertising space and the revenue generation for digital publishers. So you could always check that out too as a little bonus in this video. So Pillar, yeah, their website's great. They've got a good video. I think that their leadership, this guy in particular, so if we take a look at their team, I think that they've got a leader lined up who can pretty much be very similar to like the crypto version of Jeff Bezos. He's certainly inspired a large team to gather around him. That's our guy right there, Dave Siegel. So he's the founder. There's a lot of other great people on that team. So we wish these guys a lot of luck. There's definitely a lot of promise coming out of the Pillar team and the Pillar community. Ethos being the front runner on this particular poll. If you check out their website, you'll see that they've got a really well put together site, but their project is aiming to solve a different problem. These guys are looking at trying to take the power of the economy away from the central banks out there in the world, not just in the United States, but in other countries as well, and making cryptocurrencies and digital wealth and digital assets more accessible to the everyday person. That may sound like a very cavalier thing to go out there with, or a very stereotypical crypto concept, but this team is led by a 19-year-old CEO and founder who sounds incredibly young and looks incredibly young to fill that part, but probably has more years of experience in the field than many other people who have launched other ICOs. And he's also been in the tech background, having launched an online university successfully with over 20,000 students. He's a college student himself for computer sciences at Brown University. Let's go ahead and take a peek at him, because it's almost too hard. It's almost too hard to believe from the surface level. But this guy, Shingo Levine, has been around the block, and he's been a community expert up until this point. So he's leading another great team, a crack team of people that are really there to support him. And they have a really well put together video that explains the concept, or their ethos, if you will. Pun intended, I guess. Didn't see that coming. But it's still funny because it made me chuckle. So if you don't think that's funny, well, too bad. But these guys are looking to basically simplify cryptocurrency to the point where people can buy it without even having to understand what cryptocurrency is. So forget the whole concept of exchanges, forget the concept of smart keys, all the typical things that are currently barriers of entry into the cryptocurrency space. They're looking at being able to strip that down and break it down to the bare bones, to the point where somebody can purchase coins simply by downloading the Ethos wallet that's TBD at this point. It's not delivered. Where you would be able to purchase a cryptocurrency, learn about a business, start to participate in new ICOs, and provide a sense of ownership. It's that same sense of pride we get when we're providing a little bit of our wealth to an organization of which we hope will be successful to allow us to grow some wealth as well. It's kind of the old adage of what's easier to ask everyone ask a million people for $1 million, and hopefully one of them will say yes, or you can ask a million people for $1 and you're more likely to get a lot more yeses out of that and potentially generate more money. What would be the odds? And that's what ICOs kind of do. And the more people that can be able to participate in those types of projects, or just to be able to participate in the token economy of a lot of these other ICOs, cryptocurrencies out there, is going to bring in not only market capitalization for us, but it's going to crack the mainstream and bring in that mainstream adoption. So what you've got with the adoption curves is you've got the 2% or so people who are like the front runners. They'll try anything. They would eat dog food out of a can if you told them it was liver pate, and it was the next best thing. Then and there's nothing wrong with necessarily being that. That's sometimes how you find out whether you like dog food. But then there's the 15% or so people that follow up after that, very shortly after, and those guys are the early majority, right, or the early minority. And then after those guys, by the time you hit mainstream adoption, you're bringing in the early majority and you've crossed in the 50 percentile. Then you have the late majority in that bell curve. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about, have a visual representation of it, because I'm not going to get up here and draw it out on this fictitious whiteboard, aka the internet. But you've got that curve, and then you got the people at the very end of it on the far right spectrum that would never get into cryptocurrency until you eventually got rid of regular fiat and decided that it was the only way that they can get money. So these guys are looking at bringing the utility and the mainstream adoption of cryptocurrency to the point where at least the early majority can get into it without those technical barriers of entry, making it very accessible from a phone and without having to know the complexities of getting on Coinbase, getting on here, changing this, sending coins to there. Basically simplifying it, making it a good graphical user interface. So I easily see why you guys had chosen Ethos as being the front runner in your choice of what you guys think is going to be the game changer out there in the cryptocurrency wallet. Not to mention the fact that Ethos is looking at being a universal wallet that you would be able to hold all types of coins in, as well as other types of undetermined assets at this point. Not sure what the team has in mind from my level. You'd have to get more deeply involved in their community, most likely, to find out exactly what's on their plate. The Pillar team has a very similar project. I think wallets right now, what are you using for storing? Are you guys into hardware wallets, cold storage? Are you guys keeping money on the exchanges, doing a mix of both? Or are you using wallets like Bread, MyEther wallet, things like that? Coin storage is something we need to definitely be cognizant of, because with people having challenges this week getting access to their coins on Binance, and we've had some other exchange difficulties in the past, shall I say, Mt. Gox, things like that, where people put all their eggs in one basket and then lost them out. To that same point, I don't think it's smart to put all your eggs in one basket, whether it's even a hardware wallet and things like that. I think it's great to have diversity in your holdings, not just from the coins, but from the ways that you hold them. So keep that in mind. Even when someone comes out with a universal wallet, something like Ethos, what you've done there is potentially created yourself a single point of failure. So you do have to keep that in mind, that may not be the best survivable plan, because one disaster could potentially wipe you completely out of all accessibility to your net wealth. So I just want to put that in there. Just put a little salt in the water before you guys boil your noodles. This is Steve from AltCoin Buzz. 2 hands on the keyboard, fingers in the air. You guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.